Welcome back. So I designed a skill tree for my video game. And in V Rising, I love how you pop out of the casket just when you log in, which isn't what I'm doing in my game, but you pop out of this tree's mouth when you respawn. See, my game's a roguelite and you're gonna die probably a lot. And when you die, that's the only way you get access to the skill tree. So dying's actually a good thing because it's how you get to upgrade your skills. And all the kills you got while you were alive, that's basically the resource for upgrading your skill tree. Because this is the blood tree, dude. I whipped out my dusted, trusted Wacom. The sprite density for this is big enough for me to use a Wacom. I've been asked before if I use a Wacom or not. And for my previous game, Dwarf, which is available on Steam now, we did 16 by 16, like these tiny sprites. And for that, I used a mouse. But for The Last Phoenix, I'm going to do probably twice as big. The main character is going to be around 32 by 32. And also for stuff like this background and stuff, it's so much bigger that I do like to use a Wacom to draw like backgrounds and stuff like that. Because I don't really need the fine little details. And also I'm just trying to get an idea across. Like you can see how fast I'm going here. It's more about, this is like, I can do concept art a lot quicker with a Wacom, you know? You might have noticed that I switched from Aseprite to Photoshop. There's a link in the description if you want to get Aseprite, the pixel art program I normally use. But the reason why I switched to Photoshop is because you can rotate the canvas. And the way that I draw, how I drag lines across really quickly, or for like doing these trees, it's just more comfortable for me to rotate the canvas. And I don't know if you could do that in Aseprite. If you guys know, please let me know in the comment section below. But I feel like rotating a canvas is mandatory to me if I'm gonna be like freehand drawing stuff, you know? And it makes me want to get an iPad, and I've been thinking about getting an iPad. If you own an iPad and you draw on iPad, I'm assuming it's in like Procreate or something like that. Let me know whether I should get an iPad. So with this tree for the background, I decided to go monochromatic. I think that means if you have like different saturation of the same color, you know what I mean? And I didn't know whether I should go with purple or green. I thought about using a lot of different colors in the background, but personally I like art that has minimal colors. And I don't mean like it literally doesn't use certain colors, like a limited color palette. That's not what I'm talking about. I mean that there's like a reuse of colors and there's a theme. Like for example, these trees, you know, I know they're supposed to be like brown and the leaves on them are supposed to be green or whatever, but I think it's more artistic and stands out more, and it looks like good design when you do techniques like monochromatic backgrounds. So I think just different shades of purple here is going to be enough to get across the idea, the emotions, and more colors in the background would actually draw a person's attention to that thing, right? So like wherever you add color and detail, especially bright colors and you know, high detail, that's going to bring the person's focus to those locations. So the background should not be very detailed, and the background should not have a lot of colors if there's something else you want the player to focus on. And in this case, that's the blood tree. I'm going with the blood tree. I don't that's that the name might need some improvement, but I actually kind of like how simple it is. You're going to upgrade your skills using the blood from all the enemies you killed. So I think it's a pretty fitting name. The lore behind this tree, I haven't fully worked it out yet, but honestly I kind of like it when games allow you to piece things together and don't quite explain everything. I was watching this Junji Ito, I think that's how you say it, YouTube video. He's like a manga artist, anime artist that writes horror. And one of the key things they mentioned in that was that Junji Ito does not explain the scary stuff in his stories, which makes it scarier. Now, I don't want to make everything open to interpretation and super vague, However, I do like there to be a sense of mystery, or a sense of mystery as long as possible. So, for example, an example they were talking about was that in like a scary movie, once they explain everything about where the scary monster comes from and stuff, it's no longer that scary. As an indie game dev, there is a lot to do, but I love having creative freedom. However, I need help, so I hired his, and I'm also planning on hiring other pixel artists. Contact me if you're interested in working with me on The Last Phoenix. I think different artists bring different things to the table. They come up with different creative ideas. And if you can work with together with other artists, then your artwork can just have so much more creativity, so many more ideas in it, so many visions in it. I mean, it still has to be cohesive and stuff. But for example, I sent a concept to his, told him to make it look creepy, but I gave him, kind of like what's it called? Creativity. Gosh, the freedom. I gave him freedom to be creative, and his made up the double pupil. And like, I don't think I would have made that up, but it's really cool. So here, what I'm doing is trying to create a skill icon, and I was thinking that the skill icons would be on the roots, and instead of making it a square, I wanted to make it a diamond. But in Photoshop, when I rotated it, it made it ugly. You know what I'm talking about? I hate it when you rotate pixel art and then it just messes it all up. However, I decided to make that a happy mistake. I think that's what Bob Ross says, right? Happy mistake. So I made it a happy mistake, and I actually think that those messed up edges now make it look a little more creepy, a little more edgy. So I'm just plopping these icons all over the place. I mean, eventually what I'm gonna have to do is design the entire skill tree, and then I will go and finalize the location of the roots. So right now, all this root design is somewhat temporary because I don't actually know where the skills are gonna go for the skill tree. You know what I mean? But I still think it's important to have some kind of placeholder because I'm gonna be pitching this game to publishers and probably doing a Kickstarter for it. So you might have noticed that the roots are kind of swirly, and I did that intentionally to make them look a little bit like tentacles because I want the tree to look kind of like a living creature, you know? So by making them kind of swirl like that and look a little like tentacles, I think it makes it a little creepy, a little uncanny. I don't know if that's the right word, but you know what I mean. Whenever you're designing or drawing stuff, it's kind of easy to do the expected, and that's what'll always pop in your mind first. But I think that people are like to be surprised a little bit. There's a little bit of charm and a little bit of excitement when you draw something that's a little bit unexpected, you know. And I think this skill tree kind of captures that, and I'll try to do that throughout the entire game, but we'll see if I can pull it off. I just mentioned doing something unexpected, and my skill tree is literally a tree, but I think that's what makes it kind of funny. And I think it's better than just UI. A lot of games do skill trees with just UI, which is lacking personality and stuff, you know? And I'm making the skill tree part of the story, part of the world. I'm just adding a couple little details to try to make it look a little more organic. Dirt, little roots sticking out the edges. Adding details can take a long time. It's actually my least favorite part of doing a piece of artwork. I like to throw down a lot of form and color to try to portray an emotion or a feeling, and that's what I care about. Once it gets to the adding the detail part, that's when to me it starts to feel a little bit tedious. And that's kind of what I want to pay for if I'm going to hire an artist. I want to send them the concept so that they nail the emotions, and then they can go in and push it to the next level with some awesome details and stuff. If you remember that, you can contact me on Twitter if you want to critique on your artwork, submit it to an episode for me to critique, or if you're interested in showing me your portfolio. Wow, look at that. Fantastic job. So I was thinking that when you upgrade a skill, it would turn red and highlight blue behind it. We call that juice. And if you want to get feedback on your pixel art, come on down to the Sad Slime Discord group. There's a link in the description. I also have a free art asset pack on Itch. You can get a Sad Slime t-shirt. And my puppy says subscribe. Watch this. She's going to do a little spin for you. Come on. Devla.